Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to the video, and this is a paid request for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, movie reviews, re-reviews, streams, commentaries, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be, PayPal's the best way to do it. Do you have a Cash App as well? Links are down in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. As the title tells you, he wanted me to talk about Daylight from 1996, which I've always enjoyed this film. I've always liked and thought it was a bit underrated. It does have its flaws, don't get me wrong, but I think it has enough spectacle. There's a few bits of CG, it's 1996, there's not the best, but there's a lot of good practical stuff and stunt work and set pieces. Especially that Stallone, like, you really see that he's in on the action and the danger, whether it be the bits with the fans, whether it be the bits where he's like blowing up the thing and he's running and the thing's like right behind him ready to crush him, or he's hanging off that like waterfall, or there's the beam that falls and breaks the ladder and his character falls into the light. There's some really cool stuff of that nature. And I really like Stallone's character, Kit Latura, and I really like Sylvester Stallone's performance. He's easily the MVP. He and the set pieces, stunt scenes, I think for the most part are very well done. And again, aside from some CG, like some of the initial fire blasts where you see the fire cascading across these vehicles and melting a bit of it, the last blowout where the characters are being thrust up. Yeah, they do look kind of, not the best CG. I'm being more lenient because it's 1996, and what's sad is some of the same level CGI are in some films of today, Junior. So, this is our stuttering because I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to elicit that response out of my mouth, but it's the truth. But I've always liked it. I always thought it was fun. I think it has a lot of good aspects. Is it the most original film in terms of it'll remind you of the Poseidon Adventure and disaster films of those type of movies in that genre? Yes. You have the guy who you pretty much know is going to die because he's got this special thing to tell his lady. You got the guy who thinks he knows more than the others, so more than likely he'll die. You have your kind of tropes, but I think it does enough right things to make this a fairly entertaining film. And I said, I think a bit underrated because it's a Stallone film you never hear anyone talk about. And during this time, Sylvester Stallone's career was not going the best. Yes, he had hits with Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, I think even The Specialist, but Judge Dredd did not do well. And I'm not a fan of that movie. Some people are. There's aspects of that film I like some of the set design, the costumes, the score. But Armand Assante is fun in that. Stallone's performance, I thought, at times, certain jokes, certain lines were a bit too cornball. The one-liners, I knew you say that, didn't really gel, didn't really work out. It's rated R, but they wanted it to be PG-13, and that's why it feels like kind of a weak R rating. Because if it was R rating, they would have gone much more further. There's aspects like the thing with these clones pop up, and I swear I heard that scene was deleted where he fought the clones, or these, I don't know. This ain't a Judge Dredd review. It's just, there's aspects of that I just found disappointing. I much prefer the Carl Urban Dredd movie years later. Saw in the theater. Was very satisfied. But yeah, Judge Dredd did not do well. And that was supposed to be his big movie of that summer. Assassins, which I don't mind. I liked it. Did not do well. This film did not do well. You may say it made some money overseas, but I don't think I don't think studios get as much money overseas as they do in the US. And I mean, maybe with that and others, maybe they made a profit, but I know it flopped in the US. It was deemed a flop in the United States. It made very little money, got next to no critical positive notice. And then you got Copland, which I love, but that didn't do much, sadly. And other than like voicing a character in Ants, that's around the time he did that stupid film Cameo, Alan Smithy film Burn Hollywood Burn, which was an awful comedy. Then years later he did Driven. That's a horrible film. ICU, which I liked, but it got so many problems and behind the scenes shenanigans, and then the studio didn't believe in it, and then there's this delay. Will we even release it? Then they dumped it direct to video. And I liked ICU. I quite liked that film, also known as Detox. But that didn't help Stallone's career. He had to resort to doing Spy Kids 3, or direct to video stuff like Avenging Angelo. And no one believed him in his aptitude and his abilities, that they didn't even want a Rocky 6. He had to fight tooth and nail to get Rocky Balboa made. And that helped him. Then you got Rambo 4. I really enjoy Rocky Balboa and Rambo 4. Then you got the Expendables. Then sadly after that, his films were shit, other than as Teen Shark and the Suicide Squad. And I've only seen a few episodes of Tulsa King because I was only requested a few episodes. I never got to see the rest of the season. Never got to see season 2 because I was not requested, and they just requested he did 2. Maybe one day. I know they're doing a season 3 as well, so that's cool. But the stuff I saw so far seemed pretty good. So Stallone stick with that, not Armor or Alarum or other horseshit. Bat Trace. Sorry I hesitated there, because I'm just, man, I wish Stallone was in better movies nowadays, but, you know, shit happens. What can you do? Anyway, back to Daylight. Like I said, I've always enjoyed this film. I've always liked this film. I always thought this film was entertaining. It's written by Rob Cohen. Now, Rob Cohen, there's some films of his I like. I don't mind Dragging the Bruce Lee story. I barely remember Dragonheart. I don't mind the first Fast and Furious film. I like, what was it? Oh, Triple X. I like Triple X. And it's one of those things where Mummy 3, Tomb of the Dragging Emperor, I thought was really lame. Hurricane Heist, I thought was really lame. And I can't remember what else he's done lately, but like those two were pretty, for me, shit. So Rob Cohen, I would call like a mixed bag, hit and miss director. I definitely feel Daylight is my favorite film he's done. He actually has a cameo in the film. He's in part of the board meeting where Viggo Mortensen is talking. But before I go on the story of the film, before I get sidetracked and talk another 10 minutes before talking about the damn plot, it takes place in New York, of course, and you find out that these guys are dealing still with toxic waste. And this illegal toxic waste, they're moving through the tunnel under the Hudson River. So while they're doing that, we're getting to know at least a little bit of the characters. So we know a bit of Amy Brenneman, who is this writer who has writer's block, and she was in this relationship that the guy was still married. She's had it all and she wants to leave New York. She's tired of it. You have Viggo Mortensen, who's an athlete who is trying to sell these sneakers for decide to put them on the Super Bowl for commercials. And he's a very successful guy, likes to hike, likes to do physical activities, has a bit of a chip on his shoulder. I like Viggo Mortensen. I kind of wish he was in the film longer. I do. You have Stan Shaw, who I liked. I think he's a good character actor. I've seen him in quite a few stuff. He was in Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage. He's been in quite a few films. He's a cop, and there's this thing he wants to tell his wife, or his loved one, I should say. You probably know what's going to happen to him if you've seen enough of these disaster movies. There's an elderly couple. There's a family with a daughter. The daughter is actually Danielle Harris from Halloween 4, Halloween 5, among others. There's this bus of juvenile delinquents. One of them is Sage Stallone, Sly's kid, who sadly passed away. So they're all going to the tunnel. And then you have Sylvester Stallone, who at this point is a driver, but he was part of the EMS, Emergency Services. He was the chief. You find out later that there was this thing that happened where a few people died. Sly tried to do his best. They had to find a scapegoat, so they used him, and he got fired, and he's doing this driving thing. One thing leads to another. These thieves steal this guy's car. The guy had this briefcase with diamonds in it. They're in a high pursuit chase through the tunnel. They go off kilter. They hit the trucks with toxic waste. There's an explosion. Goes all up and down the tunnel. Collapses. Makes them trapped there. Sly is right outside. And now he kind of gets to his old chief ways to deal with the other people and figure out how to get in there, how to get them out, and what to do next. And that's kind of the gist of the plot. And then Stallone gets in there, and then he's got to deal with a bunch of assholes, which that's the one. Well, I have a few nitpicks here and there, but that's the one issue I have with this film. Big issue. Is Stallone is great. I think Stallone is very likable. He's very personable in terms of you really feel for his character. He just wants to do the right thing. He just wants to do what he can to save these people. And he's just trying to do the best he can. And he's sensible. He's straightforward, but he's not overdoing it. And I think he gives a very solid performance. I think Stallone is just a very likable character that he plays. Because of he just wants to do the right thing, and he's courageous, and you see like all the physical obstacles he overcomes. It's also cool that when he gets in, he dresses like Chris Redfield from Resident Evil. If I had the cover, but if you look at the cover of Resident Evil 1, like he's dressed like Chris Redfield, which is cool, because I'm like, oh, he could be a good Chris Redfield. If there's a Resident Evil movie at the time, I would see him a Chris Redfield. Somebody, oh no, I fucking, hey, if at this time, if he did a Resident Evil movie, I'd be down for it. I'm like, let's go. Hopefully it's good. But I like they dress like Chris Redfield. But yeah, I like, the Stallone, the people he deals with. Mark Rolston, Drake from Aliens. Drake, we are leaving. But he's not in it too long. Dan Hedaya, good character actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. He was in Commando. And where at the end Arnold does kind of the tuck and roll with the shotgun, blasts the guy off the balcony. Dan Hedaya, his brother, was one of the people killed. And I kind of like their dynamic, Sly and Dan Hedaya, because you tell Hedaya is a bit sorrowful about what happened to Stallone and kind of regrets that he blamed it all on him. And then Sly's like, hey, it was your brother. Can't get more personal than that. So I like their dynamic. And again, I really get attached to Stallone's character just of the obstacles he goes through. And to me, those are the best set pieces in the film. So there's like these multiple fans, kind of like a video game. There's these multiple fans. He only has a set amount of time to squeeze through or get through before he's cut to pieces. And you see that a good chunk of it is Stallone. Stallone squeezing through, trapped, falling down. Obviously, I'm sure there's some stunts, stunt doubles in there for safety reasons, but I think they do a pretty good job of hiding it, and you see that a lot of Stallone's face. There's a bit where the character's going around the tunnel, and he's flying through like this wind tunnel, and you see like Stallone's right there, and the thing's falling to his face. He got to whip it out, and he then slams to the ground, and he's trying to get to this thing, and the music. I want to give a credit to the music by Randy Edelman, who did Ghostbusters 2 score. Great score. Underrated musical score that really gets the excitement and tension of the scenes. The score, people forget how important a score of music is for a movie, and I think this is my favorite score the guy has done. I like the score in Ghostbusters 2, but this is my favorite score the guy's done. I think he really got some solid emotional cues. I know they were even using trailers. If you watch the trailer for Mercury Rising, some of that music is from this movie that was using the trailer for that. I love the opening. Or even when he's trying to bow down, 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 it like really gets you into the moment, the emotion, the momentum. Like that's movie making. Like that's what's about. That kind of stuff. And I think that whole fan scene is like a highlight in the movie to show the struggle of just getting into the thing. And then again, my issue is we see what he's been through, the struggle he's been through, and he gets out, and he doesn't even have a chance to sneeze. Time his watcher scratch his ass before all these people are like, you're it, it's just you, why the fuck is just you? I'm like, can he fucking take a piss? Like, can he take a breather? Can he take a fucking drink? You sorry sacks of shits. And like, people on his ass, like, Danielle Harris's parents, I fucking hated the mom and dad. They were so annoying. Lata, yeah, I heard about you. Yeah, I heard you're a fucking dyke too. Okay, I heard you sucking dick around the corner at the arcade for beer money. Shut the fuck up, bitch. And you, dude, you're probably a simp to her. You probably take the strap on with her up your fucking asshole while Daniel Harris is way off school. You shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. He went through all this shit, dressed like Chris Rayfield, like a badass, to save you two jamotes. You shut the fuck up. I'm going to throw your ass into the fire. I'm going to throw your ass into the water, and we'll see who dies first, fire or water. Shut the fuck up, both of you. I'm going to put both dicks in your mouth. Which dicks? I'll pick any one of these dicks. There'll be two dicks somewhere here, and you can take your pick which one, okay? Shut the fuck up. I was so annoyed by those two. The elderly couple was there. The juveniles, you had like the lady who just was being talking shit to Stallone. You it. What the fuck you doing, lady? Get a haircut. Shut up. Fuck off. Like, goddamn. You can't be the only one. Better than you. Like, goddamn. So, I would say for me the flaw is the supporting characters that Sly has to save aren't really worth the shit, and I don't care if he saves them or not. I care for Stallone's character though. I care for him. And hey, some people have to save pricks and some people have to save assholes. Some people, rescue responders. Sometimes the people they save aren't really the most some of them can be annoying, but still it's their job and their moral code and them as good human beings is to save some of these assholes. So it makes me feel even more sorry for Stallone that he's got to deal with these assholes, these jabokes. So that, I mean, if these other characters could have been more interesting or more intriguing personalities or more likable, so when they're in danger I would actually give a shit, I think that could have helped the film a lot. Also, like, It's not too forced, but they kind of try to hint at a love story between Stallone and Amy Brenneman. Like, you don't need that. No time for love, Dr. Jones. You don't need that in this. You really don't. But I thought the most interesting guy sadly died too quickly. I mean, this is spoilers, so spoilers. Viggo Mortensen. I liked I liked him as an actor. I liked him in the film Prison, which he did before this, and of course, A History of Violence is a good one. Later, he was in Lord of the Rings. I don't care about Lord of the Rings, but it's not because of him. But he's a good actor, Viggo Mortensen, and I wish he was in the film more. I think that could have been like an interesting dynamic where the two of them kind of have to work together, and eventually Viggo Mortensen kind of maybe humbles himself by the end, and instead of being their enemy, kind of becomes his second in command. I actually think that could have been a really good dynamic between the two. And to be honest, that would have been more interesting than him and Amy Brenneman. Like, Viggo Mortensen, like, adamant to go with him because he knows he could do it. But then Stallone's like, I've been through that. And then as time goes on, Viggo Mortensen becomes more humble. We learn more about his character. We learn more about his backstory and why he's so gung-ho. And then how he's able to ease down. And like, that could have been more intriguing. Amy Brenneman is there. I mean, I could take her or leave her. She's fine. I wouldn't say I loved her character, but she's fine. But I like the setting. I like the setting of this claustrophobic, contained tunnel. And just the production, where you see like the water flowing down over here. You see all the wreckage of cars. You see down at the end there's flames over there. And yes, there are moments of CG that's not the best. In the initial explosion, this wall of fire and it cascades over some cars, and they're dodging. They're inside their car. You see, I get it for safety reasons, because you don't want to burn the actors. So I guess I'm more lenient on that compared to a film done today, because it is 1996 to take that into account. But there's some good practical stuff. I always feel bad for like the guy when the initial explosion, there's this worker who's like eating a sandwich, like, oh shit, and when it blows up, I was like, what a poor sumbitch. Like, he just wants a sandwich. He couldn't even eat his fucking sandwich without dying, man. But yeah, there's the bit where he's got to go get Viggo Mortensen because there's this crack in the wall. I do like the line where you have this, of course, this big black buff juvenile delinquent. He's got to be kind of the bad guy in the group. Viggo Mortensen's character's name is Ray, or Roy. And the guy's like, well, Roy's on top of it. And then Sly goes, is it Roy or Ray? I can't remember. I think it's Roy. Roy's on top of it, and Stallone goes, Roy's going to be under it. Which is true. And Sly goes in, tries to help. It tumbles down like a house of cards. Kills Viggo Mortensen. Again, sadly, he wasn't in it longer. And then, like, the big guy, gets hit and he's been impaled. And then he's like, oh, please tell my dad I try to help people. And the older guy's like, we'll do that. Then the guy goes, he won't believe you. Yeah, because you'd be lying, because that wasn't the truth. You didn't try to help anybody. You tried to kill, Sage Stallone with a rock. You tried to choke Stallone out. And Stan Shaw, the cop, had to stop you. You're a piece of shit. I'm supposed to feel sorry for you? I'm glad you did. Talk about the character, folks. So this whole, he won't believe you. Yeah, because he knows you'd be full of shit, because you were full of shit. You didn't try to help. So I didn't get that, like, yeah, he won't believe you where, yeah, because he'd be right. My son didn't try to save one. My son didn't try to save someone. He'd be right. He didn't try to save anyone. He was a selfish prick. Sorry, I don't care that you die. I don't know why the movie's trying to make me feel bad for a piece of shit asshole. So again, like, the other characters needed some work on the script level or personality-wise. That was the biggest issue for me with this film. But what I liked about the film is I liked the concept. I liked the idea of being stuck in a tunnel. And where do we go? The set pieces. When the stuff's falling down and kills Vito and they escape, there's this wall of explosions that pop up. Well, I mean, this big fireball. There's another bit, actually, where this wall of explosions on the wall and tiles are flying out, and it's all done practically. And the water is more rushing through. There's a bit where Stallone has to collapse this bit to stop the water so that they don't drown, and Sly's got to climb up, and the water's just rushing over him, and this great camera shot where you see Stallone here, and it pulls back, and you see just how he's hanging with all this water on him. It's such a cool hero pose. And the music swelling. Like, that's the stuff I like. That's what makes me enjoy this film. Stuff like that. It makes Stallone, his character, look wonderfully heroic. And then he's doing his best to save these people, even though a lot of them are assholes. And the wire's tango, forget about me, and he shoots, blows it up, and then the canister's rolling, and he's trying to. And this is a nice wide shot where he's running, and the thing's ready to crush him. I thought that was well handled, and I liked the way it was directed. I liked the way it was shot. There's bits where like Stan Shaw gets trapped and they gotta work together to get Stan Shaw out. And just more of what they have to figure out what to do. There wasn't as many set pieces as I remember, but I think the ones that are there for the most part worked fairly well. I do think we could have had maybe a few more, which results with a few more people dying. Because quite a few people do live. I think we could have had a few more people, like a few more circumstances where Sly saves some, but some die. Because really, a good chunk of them do live. Spoilers. Because there's the family of three, save Stallone, and two of the other juveniles, the old guy, pretty much just like the old lady, Stan Shaw, Viggo Mortensen, and then the black dude. They die. I think a few more could have been stomped out. I didn't fit more. But I like when they find the hidden area. I love the shot where he gets I forget what you call it. How the hell did I not think of it? The light stick. The glow stick. Like, he gets that, and the way how it lights it up and the camera pushes on them, and you see the reveal of this old ladder. I like the action bit, the stunt bit where they're climbing up and the beam falls and he flies into the water. I love Stallone's rant against the whole thing where, you should kill me. I found your heart. I found your heart. I don't blame you. I don't know what the hell he said at the end, but I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. I'm laughing because like I would probably do the same thing. I found your heart. I don't blame your fucking ass. He punches through the wall that's now clay and he puts a bomb in there. Just the idea is to blow it and then they're able to be rushed out into the ocean, which they do. Now, that effect doesn't work the best nowadays because, understandably, with the actors, they don't want to kill the actors. But like Stallone is still kind of buried, which is like Stallone definitely got out of his comfort zone with this. With again the stuff with the fan and the stuff ready to crush him and the water's casting on him and pretty much they had to bury him in dirt. Because she's holding on and he kind of pops out. Now the rest is CG because like I did it for safety reasons. Is it the best looking? No. This is 1996. This is when CGI is trying to get more into the rotation. You had films like Twister, one of the films in the 90s is Independence Day. But they're able to get out of it. You have a nice shot of New York and the Twin Towers. Never forget. I do love the song at the end, Whenever There's Love by Bruce Roberts and Donna Summer. I remember when I saw the film, I got the CD and listened to that song over and over again because I think it's a very underrated love story song. I do. I think it's a very underrated song. I'm surprised, like, when it came, I got ridiculed and people made fun of it and people shit on it. I'm like, really? I think it's a very good emotional song. But sadly, because the film wasn't that big of a hit, it didn't really get much traction. But yeah, this is one of those films that I still find rather entertaining. Like I said, I think Stallone's character, how he's so, like, just... in a weird way, because of the people around him, makes me root for him even more. Man against the odds. I just see the amount of hard work Stallone put into this physically. I thought he gave a very good performance. It was cool to see Sage Stallone in there. Rest in peace to him. Since Rocky V. So it's nice to see, a reminder of him. Danielle Harris, again, I always forget she's in this. She doesn't really have a whole lot to do, but cool to have people like Dan Hedaya in there. Stan Shaw. Like, Stan Shaw I didn't mind. Viggo Mortensen. I do like them. I wish Vito was in the film more. Very good score. Some entertaining set pieces. Some really good practical elements to the movie. I said, if they were able to get maybe a couple more set pieces with maybe some of these characters, I would have been fine if the mom or dad of Danielle Harris died. I would have been fine with that. Maybe one or two more juvenile delinquents to really elevate the danger of what was going on. But yeah, this is still a very good film, I think. A fairly entertaining film. And still one of, I think, Sly's more underrated pictures. Because I don't think it was as bad as people make it out to be. I don't think it was as terrible or as... I don't think it deserved a flop. I just definitely see there's a lot of hard work put into the production and the escapism and the spectacle. Especially compared to films today, I definitely see it in a film like this. And that's commendable. So, Daylight, I think it's a good one. I do think it's a fairly good one. So, with that said, thanks for watching. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.